Hey guys, welcome to another video on the channel. In today's video, we're looking at my thoughts so far on FIFA 21. So, officially, from like the standard launch of the game, it's been out about 5 days. Unofficially, since EA Play, the game's been out 2 weeks. So I've had 2 weeks to try and test the game. How many games have I ever played? 93 there, but I've also played a few on PlayStation against my brother, and then I've played like nearly 20 against Jambu. So I've played probably not far off 150 games now in this FIFA, so I feel like I've had a lot of chance to test the game out, but also I feel like being able to judge the menus. I've watched lots of the game, I've tried and tested lots of different things, so I'm basically going to go through each aspect of FIFA. All of it's going to be Ultimate Team related, because that's the only mode I've played so far, and give my thoughts, feedback on what I think of the game so far. So, we'll start with the menus, because that's where we spend a lot of our time, and that's where we're going to start here. The squad menu, pretty good, pretty easy to work through. It's pretty easy to search for our club for players there, I don't mind that. I like the transfer market. I think this was here anyway last year, but I like how easy it is. Thank you for the follow on the stream, Jake. It's pretty easy to work your way through the menu there. I think that's decent. I think these menus, some people have been saying they're pretty bad. Personally, I quite like them. I think it's easy to go look at the objectives. I mean, I think you could right sticks anyway to that. I think sometimes it takes a while to go through these, but I guess that's because there's more objectives. I think the season progress is rubbish in the sense of you should get a lot better things in the season progress. I think that's pretty poor. The community events so far I don't really feel have done a lot. I don't think they're that great in general, but hopefully they'll be better as the year goes on. I like some of these milestones this year. I just got a rare players pack where I actually got Mo Salah from it untradeable, so that's a good sub for me. I think that's decent, adding some more packs like that. The play section where all the modes are, I think that's good. It's very simple to find everything now. There's a bit of a bug where you can't actually move left properly afterwards. I don't really understand that, but that's decent. Transfer all in one bit, pretty straightforward. I like that this is a thing that you can just do my club in the transfer list, because that's where you'd sell stuff and organise stuff. That makes sense, but it doesn't actually tell you that you press the left stick to do that properly. It doesn't really explain that, but yeah, that's a bit strange. What else is there? The store, yeah, pretty decent. I mean, the store is what the store is. And then this bit here, it's pretty simple, leaderboards, player stats. Don't mind that. I like that they've added FIFA on Twitch, but the problem is it doesn't actually take you to streams, it just takes you to the browser on Xbox. Never use the delete club bit. Couldn't imagine doing that to my club. By the way, I've got 3.4 million, 3.5 million coins here. How would I upgrade this team? Let me know. Give me your thoughts. Like, team's insane at the moment, but where would your upgrades be personally? Let's get into some gameplay. I don't like that actually, that when you press R2 it opens up that. I think that's a bit too easy to do. Let's get into some gameplay though, and I'll talk about the different aspects of the gameplay and my thoughts on that so far. Okay, for the gameplay part of the video, I'm just going to leave a game on that I played against Jambu. I ended up winning this game, so a bit of a spoiler there. Might not get to the end of the game anyway, without, depending on how long the video is. But to not do Jambu dirty, I think our record in friendlies this year is something like, I think it's like 8 wins to Jambu, 7 or 6 to me. Jambu's insane. If you haven't seen his channel before, make sure you check it out. My best friend in the scene, mate, he made semi-finals of E-Prem last year, very good player. But we're going to start talking about the gameplay. We're going to start our way at the back and work our way all the way from the back, so the keeper to the attack. Keepers, they're not very good this year, but I don't mind that. Keepers, for the most part, are relatively consistent. They make most of the saves I think they should. The handling seems about where it should be. And I don't want a game, really, where keepers decide the game. And by that, I don't even mean as in the keeper decides the game because I've done something with him, just because, as in, I've got Courtois, you've got Courtois, but your Courtois just played better. I like where keepers are at the moment. I don't want keepers to be a big factor in the game because, let's be honest, most of the time they're quite AI. I think keeper movement is, if anything, a little bit too slow. There's times when I do something, like I move the keeper and it would have saved it, but it just doesn't register or move barely at all. And that is a bit frustrating because I think keeper movement, where it was on FIFA 19, it was a bit stupid. But where it is now, it barely makes a difference or doesn't even register half the time. There's not really much change I'd want to do with keepers. I'll talk on this video where I would change things if I could, but for the most part I wouldn't change too much with keepers. Defending, I think pace seems pretty good place right now. The pacey players do seem effective. Maybe a bit too strong, but I don't think right now I'd change it. As defenders get in forms, the pace will catch up, it'll feel pretty good. Fullbacks seem pretty decent with the pace. I do think Shadow is a pretty important chem style right now though. In terms of the tackling, that is one of the biggest issues in this FIFA at the moment. The tackling seems pretty atrocious. Like, it just doesn't work half the time. I'm going to say minimum, and this is probably being too kind to FIFA 21. I don't think tackles work at least 20% of the time. And it's probably more than that. But 20% of the time is pretty bad because that just leads to so many good chances. Me and Jambu played a game earlier that finished 5-4. And it was pretty crazy, some of the goals that were going in. Like, we were defending well, but still conceding just due to things that we couldn't really have done much about, to be honest. Yeah, so I think the tackling definitely needs a buff. It would improve the game quite drastically if the tackling was more efficient. Interceptions, again, I don't think it's the best. Like, too often it just glitches through your players. They get megsed. Most of my issues with this FIFA come with the defending. I like that there's more goals and it's harder to defend, but I don't want to be punished and concede. That was a good goal by Jambu, that. I don't want to be punished and concede when I've done something good. That's my big issue with this FIFA at the moment. I don't want... One thing I would say, I want the AI blocks to be toned down. They're still too good. So I want manual defending where you in position players to intercept, make tackles better, but then the AI defending is just a bit too good right now. Midfielders, they don't really move a lot. I think the defensive mids could do with moving a little bit more, but again, I don't want them doing loads, so it's not too bad. The passing, I find, especially once you get some pretty good players, I really like it. What I don't like is there's a bug with passing where sometimes it just literally goes completely opposite way to where you aim. Other than that, I like the passing. I think the driven pass works at the right time. I still think there's a bit of an issue where A passes or act like a Y pass, so an X pass looks like a triangle pass. That's pretty frustrating, but in general, I think the passing's a lot better this year. You do get rewarded more for timing passes well. Through balls are maybe a bit too strong. They're a bit too OP at the moment, just normal through balls, that is. Chip through balls are good, but the balance, because they take a lot more skill now that the power on them is manual, so I think that's a good upgrade by... So in general, I think the passing's in a pretty good place at the moment. Dribbling, I'm not fully sure yet. Like, I've got some very good players, and I feel like dribbling, for now, I wouldn't change it. It feels okay right now on the game. I think maybe it could do with a little bit more responsiveness, but I don't want a game where you can just spam like that and just be nigh impossible to tackle. Skill moves feel very good, but in a skill gap type of way. And by that, I mean that at the moment, it doesn't feel like skill moves are too easy to do. It doesn't feel like there's really a skill move that just breaks the game like Raketa did on FIFA 19. It feels like there's skill moves are rewarded when you do them at the right time. And that's how it should be, to be honest. Skill moves have definitely improved this year. The chain error feels about right. And I like where skill moves are right now. It's made the game more fun. And I feel like it's improved the game. So I don't want skill moves touching. We'll get to shooting. Let me just have a drink. Zidane doing a bit of a rodeo this year. One thing I would say, by the way, with the dribbling is it feels much more natural this year. It doesn't feel like you have to have 90 plus agility, balance and dribbling to be able to move. Zidane doesn't have great agility, but he's very good on the ball, quick turn still. The dribbling stats should matter the most, and it does matter the most this year. So I do feel they've made more players viable because a lot less players feel clunky this year, which is good. Shooting is one of my favourite aspects of the game. Occasionally it feels a bit RNG, and by that I mean a bit random. There is before we move on, let's rewind this. That's one point I needed to get to. This is shocking. Watch this. I'm through on goal with Ronaldo. He's going to get in front of Gini Wijnaldum, and the ref blows for half time. Before we get back to shooting, the referees, they are atrocious on this game. You can get a yellow card for nearly anything, but you can hardly get a red card. You could shoot someone and not get a red card. I've seen players slide through the back of me in the box already on a yellow, and they don't get a red card. Penalties get given for absolutely nothing sometimes, but then other times they don't get given for blatant slide tackles that just go through people. There's a lot of randomness, it feels, at times with the referees, and that does decide games. And at a pro level where the games are close, I feel like the refs could be quite an issue this year, which I really hope doesn't happen, but I am a bit worried about it. Shooting, though, it's a lot more consistent. One of the best things this year, I feel, is the weak foot is nowhere near as important this FIFA. On last FIFA, 5-star weak foot felt essential for attacker. If you didn't have 5-star weak foot, you couldn't really play central by the end of the year because it just was nowhere near as good. I had a team in the season, Martinez, and he didn't feel that good simply because his 4-star weak foot with 99 finishing couldn't finish. So they've made weak foot 5% more efficient. So instead of being 80% like last year, it's 85%. But I also think they've just improved it in general. Pele and CR7 on their left foot still feel insane. It's one thing I really like about this game so far. It's made team building a lot more options available compared to last year. The shooting doesn't feel like there's any particular shot that's OP. It feels like you more get rewarded for making the right decision at the right time, which I really like. That's a really good improvement. Heading seems pretty balanced at the moment. I like how heading is. I don't want heading changed right now. Crossing is in a decent place. The driven cross, though, is broken. That needs patching. The driven cross literally doesn't miss right now. It's just stupid. Other than that, crossing feels like it's more of a skill gap than ever, basically. Timing it at the right time, and then heading is manual, so more skill in that. I like how crossing is, but just the driven cross needs fixing. Shooting, like I said, pretty good. You get rewarded more on the decision making. Keepers being not that good mean as well. You get rewarded more when you make good chances. But I've not seen many goals going from crazy positions, so I do like that. I think it's good. I'm not seeing so many stupid goals this year. I mean, it's 2 weeks in, but last year and the year before even more, there was just goals that came from absolutely nothing. So I think that's pretty decent at the moment. Pressing's pretty useless. I think the second man press could do with a slight buff. I don't like team press. Team press is insane. If you're playing against someone with a good team who's good at the game, it's barely possible to get out of the team press. That needs changing. I like that they've put on a timer, but you can still just go constant pressure and it's still insane then. In general at the moment, I like this game a lot more than FIFA 20. There's a lot more goals. I like how that's changed this year. The game feels just a lot more fun to play. At times last year, it really just felt like you were just getting screwed over by the way the game played. This year, kickoffs and 45th minutes are still too strong. That's probably a big issue as well. But at the very least, even when bad things happen in games, there's a lot more goals going and you don't feel if one bad moment happens, the game's over. So I do like this game. It's got a lot of potential. Is it perfect? No. Will we ever get perfect FIFA? Probably not. And part of that will always be because different people have different opinions on how football games should be. But I do like the current state of the game and where we are at. But I wouldn't want it to be like this the whole year. I think there's tackling, interceptions, the driven cross, things like that. Referees, they do need looking at. But in general, we've got the foundation for a pretty good game. Let me know your thoughts on this. I hope you enjoyed this video. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Keep it spicy and appreciate the support, boys.